A massive lion walks into a hospital on a stormy night, carrying a tiny baby in its jaws. Everyone freezes in shock as it gently lays the child down and leaves without causing harm. The mystery deepens when a locket with a faded photo of a woman and the baby is found. What happens next? Before continuing the story, tell me which city you are watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. The rain came down in sheets, blurring the neon sign outside St. Mary's Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. Sophia Reynolds, a dedicated nurse with over a decade of experience, sat at her station sipping lukewarm coffee. Her eyes were heavy with fatigue, but she pushed through. It was just another busy night, or so she thought. The soft chime of the automatic doors opening snapped her attention back to the lobby. Sophia glanced over, expecting to see a late-night visitor or an ambulance crew. Instead, her mug slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. Standing in the doorway was a lion. A massive golden mane lion, its fur soaked from the rain, stood motionless as the storm raged behind it. Time seemed to stop. The bustling hospital fell silent as everyone froze, unable to process what they were seeing. The lion's presence wasn't aggressive, it wasn't roaring or charging. It simply stood there, gazing around the room. But what truly caught Sophia's attention wasn't just the sheer impossibility of the scene. In its powerful jaws, the lion carried a small, wrapped bundle. Carefully, it stepped forward, its claws clicking softly against the tiled floor. Its amber eyes locked with Sophia's, and she felt an unexplainable pull, a connection that transcended fear. Whispers of disbelief swept through the staff as the lion moved closer. Security guards hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. Doctors looked on in stunned silence. Sophia took a step forward, her heart pounding. She couldn't explain why, but something inside her told her to trust the creature. As the lion reached the center of the lobby, it gently lowered the bundle to the floor. With a soft nudge of its nose, it pushed the bundle towards Sophia, then sat back on its haunches. For a moment, the only sound was the rain pounding against the hospital's windows. Sophia knelt, her hands trembling as she reached for the bundle. She slowly peeled back the soaked cloth, revealing what was inside. Her breath caught in her throat. It was a baby, a tiny infant, no older than a few days. Its skin was pale, and its small chest rose and fell weakly. The baby's lips were a shade of blue, and it let out a faint, pitiful cry. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. She quickly assessed the infant's condition, her training kicking in. This baby needed immediate medical attention. She shouted for a pediatric team, her voice firm and commanding. Cutting through the stunned silence of the room, the lion didn't move. It sat silently, its intelligent eyes watching Sophia's every move. It seemed to understand the urgency of the situation, as if its job was done now that the baby was in safe hands. As Sophia handed the baby off to a team of nurses and doctors rushing in with an incubator, she looked back at the lion. Something about this entire situation didn't add up. Where had it come from? Why had it brought the baby here? And how could it show such precise care and understanding? A voice snapped her out of her thoughts. What's going on here? It was Dr. James Mitchell, the hospital's chief physician, who had just arrived. He glanced from Sophia to the lion, his expression one of sheer disbelief. Sophia explained the situation quickly, her voice trembling with emotion. The lion brought the baby. It just walked in and laid the child down. It knew something was wrong, but Dr. Mitchell's face softened as he glanced at the bundle now being whisked away to the neonatal unit. And the lion? He asked. I don't know, Sophia whispered, turning back to the creature. The lion hadn't moved. It sat there, rainwater dripping from its fur, completely calm. It was as if it was waiting for something, or someone. Security guards were moving closer now, their radios buzzing with frantic chatter. One of them raised a tranquilizer gun, his hand shaking. Sophia raised her voice, firm and unyielding. No one touches that lion. It saved a life tonight. We owe it the same care. Dr. Mitchell hesitated but nodded, trusting her instincts. Let's figure this out, he said quietly. But before anyone could act, the lion stood, turned, and began to walk back toward the door. It paused for a moment, glancing over its shoulder as if to say goodbye. Then, just as silently as it had come, it vanished into the rain. Sophia stood there, her heart racing. She had more questions than answers, and the mystery only deepened when one of the nurses hurried over, clutching a small object in her hand. "I found this in the baby's blanket," the nurse said, breathless. She handed the item to Sophia. It was a gold locket, slightly tarnished but unmistakably engraved. Sophia opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a photograph, faded but clear. It showed a woman holding a newborn baby, smiling softly. The back of the locket bore an inscription, "For Evelyn, protect him, no matter the cost." Sophia stared at the locket, her mind racing. Who was Evelyn? Was she the baby's mother? What had happened to her? And how was the lion connected to all of this? The storm outside continued to rage, but Sophia felt something shift inside her. She didn't know it yet, but this night was the beginning of something much bigger than anyone could have imagined. The neonatal unit was a flurry of motion as doctors and nurses worked to stabilize the baby. Sophia stood just outside, watching through the glass with a mix of hope and worry. The baby's tiny chest now rose and fell steadily. Aided by the hum of the incubator, Mitchell emerged from the room, his face a mixture of relief and confusion. "The baby's stable for now," he said. "Dehydrated, hypothermic, but otherwise no signs of physical trauma." "It's a miracle, Sophia. Whoever or whatever brought him here saved his life." Sophia nodded, clutching the locket in her hand. "But who is he, James, and what happened to him before he got here? That lion? It didn't just stumble in, it knew, it understood." Before Dr. Mitchell could respond, a soft chime echoed over the intercom. "Security to the main entrance," the voice announced. "We have a situation." Sophia's heart sank. She turned to Dr. Mitchell, her instincts kicking in. "Stay with the baby," she said. "I'll handle this." The main lobby was no longer the calm, surreal scene it had been earlier. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the hospital entrance was now swarmed with people. Police officers, reporters, and a few civilians who had clearly heard the rumors. Sophia pushed through the crowd, spotting Nathan, the head of security, speaking with two officers. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. Nathan gestured toward a man standing just outside the hospital doors. He was tall, with unkempt hair and a weathered face, his clothes soaked from the rain. His eyes were frantic, darting around as if searching for someone. Clutched in his hand was a photograph. "He showed up a few minutes ago," Nathan explained. "Said he's looking for his son, claims he knows about the lion." Sophia's pulse quickened. "His son?" She stepped forward, her eyes locking onto the man. "Sir, I'm Nurse Reynolds. You said you were looking for your son." The man's hands trembled as he held out the photograph. It was the same woman and baby from the locket, but this time the man was in the photo too. His arm was wrapped protectively around the woman, his face full of pride. "My name is Lucas," he said, his voice cracking. "My wife, Evelyn. She passed away 3 days ago. Our car went off the road during the storm. I tried to get help, but when I came back, the baby was gone. I thought I'd lost him too." Sophia's breath caught in her throat. "Your wife's name was Evelyn?" Lucas nodded, his eyes filling with tears. "She gave me this," he said, pulling out a matching gold locket. "It was hers. She said it was meant to protect him." No matter what, Sophia's grip tightened around the locket in her own hand. "Lucas, your baby is here. He's safe, but there's something else." She hesitated, unsure how to explain the unexplainable. "A lion brought him to us." Lucas's expression flickered between disbelief and shock. "A lion?" She nodded. "It walked into the hospital carrying your son in a blanket. It didn't hurt anyone. It just left him here. Do you know anything about that?" Lucas's face paled. The lion. It was Evelyn's wish. Sophia blinked. "What do you mean?" Lucas took a shaky breath. "Evelyn grew up near a wildlife sanctuary. There was a lion there she cared for as a girl named Thornton. She always said he was special, almost like he could understand her. Before she passed, she told me that if anything happened to us, Thornton would know. I thought she was delirious, but now..." His voice trailed off as tears streamed down his face. Sophia placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Lucas, your son is alive because of her wish. The lion somehow brought him here. We still don't understand how, but he's alive, and he needs you." Back in the neonatal unit, Lucas stood by the incubator, tears streaming down his face as he gazed at his son. Sophia stood nearby, giving him space but watching the emotional reunion with a full heart. The baby stirred, his tiny hand reaching out as if sensing his father's presence. "He looks just like her," Lucas whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for saving him." Sophia smiled gently. "It wasn't just us. Thornton knew." Lucas nodded, his gaze still fixed on his son. "I don't know how to repay you." "There's nothing to repay," Sophia said softly. "Your wife's love, that lion's instinct, they brought him here. That's all that matters." But even as the moment brought relief in her own, Sophia's mind lingered on the mysteries of the night. Where had the lion gone? How could it have acted with such intelligence? And why did it feel like this wasn't the end of the story? The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, Sophia found herself drawn to the hospital entrance. She stepped outside, the air fresh and calm after the storm. Her eyes scanned the street, hoping for a glimpse of the lion, and then she saw it just beyond the edge of the hospital parking lot, standing in the shadows. Thornton. The lion's amber eyes met hers one last time. He stood tall and majestic, his mane shimmering in the golden light. Sophia felt an overwhelming sense of peace, as if the lion was saying goodbye. With a low rumble, Thornton turned and walked away, disappearing into the trees. Sophia stood there for a long time, the morning air cool against her skin. She clutched the locket in her hand, her heart full of gratitude and wonder. The world was still full of questions, but one thing was certain. Sometimes love and loyalty transcend understanding. And on that stormy night, a lion had proven it. And so the story of the lion and the baby comes to an end, leaving us with questions that have no answers, mysteries that can only be explained by love and loyalty. From the lion's unexpected appearance in the hospital to its timely delivery of the child, everything was a miracle that defies logic. But perhaps it's these very miracles that make this world beautiful and full of wonder. This story reminds us that there are things in life that cannot be explained by reason. And sometimes it's our faith, love, and loyalty that become the deciding factors to overcome any challenge. Even though we may never find answers to all these mysteries, one thing is certain: love and protection will always be the greatest driving forces in life. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more touching, mysterious tales, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any story. We'll continue to bring you fascinating and meaningful stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.